So, what's the one skill that can truly make or break a new venture? The one that's so often overlooked? It's not fundraising, it's not marketing, it's mastering the art of framing a problem. Because you see, how you define a problem isn't just the first step, it's the step that decides everything that comes after.
Now, the awesome framework we're about to unpack comes straight from a lesson cooked up by the Flying Wings Online School for their International School program. Seriously, they've built a fantastic system for turning confusion into real clarity, and we're so excited to share it with you.
Okay, let's start with a scenario I bet you've seen before. You've got a brilliant team, a solid budget, everyone's working their tails off, and yet the project just falls flat. Why does this happen so often? What's that hidden thing that just derails so many amazing ideas?
Well, here's the thing. The failure often has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of the solution. It's because the team was laser-focused on solving the wrong problem from the very beginning.
Yeah, that hidden variable is usually the problem itself. So let's really dig into what it means to solve the wrong problem by looking at the massive difference between a vague idea and a truly powerful problem statement.
Okay, just look at the difference here. On one side, you've got women need help. I mean, it's a nice thought, but as a starting point, it's kind of useless. Where do you even begin with that? But then, look at the other side. Women artisans lack access to markets and fair pricing. Now, that is a problem you can sink your teeth into. It tells you who is affected, what the barrier is, and why it actually matters. That's the leap from total confusion to real clarity.
So how do you make that leap from a weak statement to a strong one every single time? Well, it's through a process that, honestly, is like a superpower for entrepreneurs. It's called problem framing. Let's break down how it works.
At its heart, problem framing is really a discipline. It's the whole process of defining what you're trying to solve so clearly that it practically points you toward a real, tangible solution. It's all about being specific, being accurate, and, this is the most important part, being actionable.
And this is why this whole thing is so crucial. The words you choose, the root cause you decide on, they literally shape the universe of possible solutions. A vaguely defined problem, that will always lead to a vague, ineffective solution. But a really specific problem, that unlocks truly innovative and targeted solutions.
Okay, so if framing is this important, how do we actually do it well? Turns out there's a kind of anatomy to a powerfully framed problem, a recipe you can follow every single time.
It really boils down to these 4 essential questions. First, you have to clearly identify who you're solving this for. Then you need to state what their specific problem is. Then, and this is crucial, you have to dig for the why. What's the root cause? And finally, you have to spell out the impact. Why does this problem even matter in the first place?
All right, let's put this framework into practice. Our who is girls in rural communities. The what is that they lack access to secondary education. But why? We dig a little deeper, and we find it's because of mobility restrictions. And the impact of all this? It's crystal clear: reduced future opportunities. See? All of a sudden, we're not just solving education, we're solving a specific access problem that has a very real consequence. Now, once you have this complete, actionable picture of the problem, something amazing happens. The problem itself starts to reveal the seed of an opportunity. This is the big pivot point, where we shift from just analyzing to actually creating. An opportunity statement takes your beautifully framed problem and flips it. It reframes it to be forward-looking and positive. It's not about what's wrong anymore, it's about what we can create. Think of it as a launch pad for brainstorming.
And the magic key to unlock this whole thing is a simple 3-word phrase. How might we? This question is so powerful because it's naturally optimistic. It just assumes a solution is possible, and it invites everyone to throw in ideas without any judgment.
Right here you can see the entire journey in action. A vague complaint like, people are poor, gets transformed into a specific problem: women artisans lack access to markets. And that, in turn, unlocks this really exciting question: how might we connect them directly to customers? See how that works? In every example, we're moving from a dead-end complaint to an inspiring call to action. And this isn't just playing with words, it's a fundamental shift in how you see the world.
This whole process, going from problem to opportunity, isn't just some one-time exercise, it's a mindset. So how do you make this way of thinking a consistent habit, just like the most successful founders do?
So what are the traps you need to avoid? First, you gotta resist that urge to jump straight to a solution. Second, always dig for the real root cause, not just the symptom. And third, please, challenge your assumptions with actual research. Instead, be relentlessly specific.
Get out there and use real insights from real people, and always focus on people and their context.
All right, so let's just boil this all down. First, a strong solution can only be built on a well-defined problem. It's the foundation. Second, problem framing is the tool that turns that messy confusion into real clarity. And third, every single well-framed problem has the seed of a new possibility inside it. Ultimately, the best founders don't fall in love with their solution, they fall in love with the problem.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Just look around you, in your community, your industry, maybe even your own life. What's a frustration or a challenge you see every single day? And what would happen if you applied this framework to it? What problem, if you just took the time to frame it correctly, could become your next massive opportunity?